against Genoa because Lautaro Martinez was nowhere to be found.
And that's what Lukaku does.
Yeah.
Inter failed to impress, and Lukaku drags you out the shit. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's actually carrying the team on his shoulders. In the UCL against the Shakhtar, a team that we defeated 5-0 just 3 months ago, we struggled, but I think we deserved the win. We dominated the game. We had a bit of bad luck, 2 crossbars, not 1, but 2. One was an incredible Lukaku free kick. I would have loved to see that. Positives, Hakimi, beautiful to see him back. Vidal is really playing very well, but at the same time, he's got to calm the F down when it comes to tackling people, especially close to the box.
That's been his whole career. It's like, Vidal, you're good, but man, just chill. Just chill a little bit.
The thing is that I feel like at Barcelona and Bayern, they were just like, look, man, we're Barcelona, we are Bayern Munich. You cannot just tackle the shit out of everybody. And now it feels like he's back in the Italian league. He's remembering the good old days with Juventus.
With Fonte, who's not going to tell him to stop.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's like, sometimes you see him running towards the ball carrier and you're just like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. But another positive, a big negative is Lautaro, who hasn't scored since the game against Lazio on October 4th. But another good positive is the 2 consecutive clean sheets, the first ones of the season. So
that was something that needed fixing, right? You were conceding a lot of goals. So.
But now we do absolutely need a win this weekend against Parma and then against Real Madrid next week. But staying in Milan, on the black and red side of Milan, Ibrahimovic, just absolutely insane. He only scores braces this year. He's played 3 games for AC Milan in the league, and he scored 6 goals, a brace in each. So brace against Roma, against Inter, against Bologna. There is an incredible connection with Rafael Leao, who disguised himself as Kevin De Bruyne in the game against Roma and pinpointed a beautiful lob pass to Ibrahimovic that was just beautiful. And that leaves AC Milan still undefeated in all competitions.
Yeah, I feel like ever since I said Leao isn't that great, he's been really great. So I feel like I might have you're welcome, Milan fans. Yeah.
Exactly. And always staying in Italy, guys, keep your eyes on Gaetano Castrovilli for Fiorentina, 23 years old, 4 goals, 1 assist in 5 Serie A games. He scored a brace over the weekend. The first goal was maybe a little lucky. The second one, he just fakes a shot, goes around the defender after a beautiful give and go and just curls it in the top right bin. I think he's the most talented Italian player. Just like in terms of sheer skill, he's got to be the best, I think, in the league.
That is in a very promising generation of Italian players. That is a big thing to say. I think it's someone I've talked about before, Football Manager. He was sick. He's a great player. Everything I've seen of him, he's been very, very impressive. And I think Fiorentina have pulled off some great business there, right? That's a very astute signing, and they're kind of building a team there a little bit.
And guess what? Sarri might be coming to Florence.
Oh, get him back in. I love Maurizio. Yeah, get him in.
Yeah, we miss the cigarette butts, right?
Yeah. When he used to have them in his mouth, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
anyway.
But last thing I got to say about Italy, guess who had called Atalanta an inconsistent team at the beginning of the season? That's me, Tommaso Adami. Win, loss, draw. Inconsistency at its finest. They had a good game against Ajax last night after being 2-0 down. They managed to come back.
That was a great game. It was a great game.
Beautiful offensive football. And guys, Zapata, I've got to say it, he's one of the best strikers in Europe. He's got already 5 goals in 7 games in all competitions, including 3 in 2 UCL games. So
I keep waiting for a team to come in for him. Like, I think Atalanta seemed like that kind of team where they were going to get picked off a little bit, but it hasn't happened yet. And Zapata, if I was the chairman of a rich football club, he might be high on my list for replacement strikers. I think the guy is, everything he touches turns to goals.
Yeah. And he can score headers, right foot, left foot, not a problem.
Good guy.
Yeah. Going back to England, Rory, we've got 2 teams to cover.
So we're going to quickly go through Chelsea and Manchester United. So Chelsea rolled over Krasnodar eventually this week. Jorginho had a bizarre penalty that hit the post, hit the keeper, and then came out. Then controversially, they had another penalty and they took Jorginho off penalties, and this time it was Werner. So Werner smashed it into the back of the net. And an interesting stat I saw this week, Mendy now has as many clean sheets as Kepa does for Chelsea in 2020. So it seems like Lampard has started to fix the defensive woes. They now have, in their last 3 games, they've kept clean sheets, 4 clean sheets in their last 5 games. And weirdly, Kurt Zouma might be the key to it. I saw that he has the best aerial duel success rate in Europe, 100% success rate in the air so far in the Premier League. So I think him and Thiago Silva, even though Thiago Silva didn't play midweek, him and Thiago Silva together could make quite a good partnership. Lampard came out this week and said that he's treated differently because he's an English manager. Now, I think he meant it a different way than in reality. He thinks he's judged a bit harder. I would disagree, as would many other. I'm not calling myself a journalist, but as would many journalists. That was a slip of the tongue there. But I think it's weird to be right and wrong at the same time. But well done, Frank. You did it. And then finally, I need to step down a little bit from my slating Solskjaer. It seems like since their embarrassing defeat to Spurs, he seems to have kind of fixed the midfield. They've won 4 games now. They made light work of an impressive Leipzig team. Okay, they weren't impressive on the night, but semi-finalists last year. Their coach is hard to guess. Nagelsmann is kind of a bit of a weird guy. I don't know if you saw his suit. He's quite a loud dresser. He's a bit of an eccentric guy. But Solskjaer kind of tactically just completely outdid him, nullified their attack in the centre. Rashford came on, 15-minute hat-trick, boom. He gave a penalty to Martial when he was on a hat-trick. Like, the guy just can't stop providing and feeding people. He's a legend. It looks like United are in form, just in time to play who this weekend, Tommy?
Arsenal.
Yes, we have them at Old Trafford this week. And in a quick story, I was at Old Trafford the last time we won there. And for listeners, as a clue as to how long ago this was, the winning goal was scored by Adebayor. I was a mere 18 years old. Oh, halcyon days. And we haven't won there since in the league. But I'm not holding my breath this time either. It seems like in true Arsenal look, United haven't won a home game in the league this year yet. Enter Arteta. Let's go.
Big weekends to look forward to this weekend. We've got Liverpool, West Ham, and Manchester United, Arsenal in the Premier League. While in Serie A, keep an eye on Napoli Sassuolo, because I think that's going to be a goal fest. And then we've got the Derby della Lanternina, Sampdoria versus Genoa. But now it's time. Are you excited, Rory?
Oh, I'm scared. I'm looking over my shoulder.
So we're ready for our Halloween special. Starting from now, you're going to hear our conversations with some of our listeners who are going to share their worst footballing nightmares. And the first one is actually, it comes in a great moment because it's actually a game that Arsenal played at Old Trafford. You might remember that, Rory.
This is a game I have never seen the highlights for because I was on holiday. So we will let my good friend Kamal fill you in on the horrific details.
All right, and we'll talk to you guys again after the first 3 recordings. Get ready, because this...
See you on the other side.
My name's Kamal. I'm ringing from England, and my horror story is supporting Arsenal. We had a big defeat in 2011, which was 8-2, and it was horrible to watch. I think I was one of only 3 people in the pub who were an Arsenal fan, and the rest were all Man United fans. So, yeah, the goals just kept them pouring in. It was 2-1 at one stage, and then we had a penalty. I think it was Van Persie had a penalty, and then he missed it, and obviously Old Trafford went berserk. They were cheering like there's no tomorrow, and then the goals just kept them flooding in. I think we had about 7 or 8 first-team players missing.
Yeah, it was a thin squad. I remember that.
Yeah,
excuses in, but it was a thin squad. I remember
definitively, I think it was about the 60th minute, and Carl Jenkinson, I think he must have been like 17 at the time or something ridiculous. He was cramping up along on the side, and actually, I remember Ashley Young scoring 2 beautiful goals. Like, he just curled them in every single time, and it was just...
That guy was like Carl Jenkinson. I always really liked, because he's like a massive Arsenal fan, a huge Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
But he always felt so out of his depth.
Yeah, he's not an Arsenal... he's not Arsenal quality. He's a championship player, isn't he?
So. I think Arsenal fans let him get away with a lot because his whole family were Arsenal. He was Arsenal. He's got a brick at the Emirates with his name on it. Like, he's a proper fan. Like,
it helps, doesn't it? It really does help. So
my first question, Kamal, is why did you choose that pub? Was that the only pub where you could go, full of Manchester United supporters?
I was there with a friend who's a United fan, so we're like, we'll go in here. And I had at the time, I had the blue Arsenal away kit.
It was like the diagonal one, right?
Yeah, it was. And the more the game went on, the more I zipped it up and zipped it up and zipped it up. So by the end, it was just me, like, just a barrier around myself. Yeah.
Well, this game, I remember I was on holiday, right? And I asked my uncle, like, what was the score of the United game? Or the Arsenal game? And he went, are you sure you want to know? I was like, yeah. And he went 8-2. And I was like, fuck off. He was like, no. And I was like, holy... Yeah. I have managed to... I've never seen a highlight from that game. It never happened in my head.
It was bad. I mean, it was a super thin squad. We had loads of like youth players, and I think there was like a crazy stat at the time. I remember Lee Dixon was saying he averaged out squad players' numbers, and I think Arsenal ended up like 260, 270, whereas the United first team squad numbers was like 110 or something. It was all like reserve players and young players coming through. It was just
Andre Santos, fucking Kieran Gibbs.
Even on the bench, I think we had some awful players. It was just so thin.
As I'm picturing this, so I don't know where you watched this game or anything, but I picture it as a rainy, cold night, something like that. You sitting on the corner with your Arsenal shirt, like covering it up. How was the atmosphere? Was it bad?
After I think it was 6-2.
And it wasn't over.
It wasn't over. It was 6-2. I think Carl Jenkinson got sent off, and I thought, right, please no more. Because, when it's 6-2, everyone knows the game's over, it's done. There's no one's going to recover from that. And then the 7th one went in, and then the 8th one went in, and I was like, this is... For me, that was the demise of, like, Wenger. I thought, oh, no, I think...
It felt like a turning point for Arsenal, right?
Yeah. For me, because for me, it was always like, oh, yeah, we'll just back him. He goes with youth. We'll take our time, rebuild. And that point, I thought, oh, no, I think we're starting to slip away from we can win the league to, no, we can't buy youth anymore. We need to actually invest and get some players in. So
this is it. And for me, it felt like after that, it was the first one of the games where whenever we played a top 4 side, we just got battered.
Yeah. I mean, I think that same season... Nasri went to City, Fabregas went to Barcelona, and I distinctly remember Van Persie was our top goal scorer, and the season after he went to United. So
he joined United after that defeat.
And
then literally won them the Premier League with 20-odd goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was top.
We just handed them the Premier League trophy.
Yeah.
My question, besides the atmosphere, is right now I don't want to disrespect Arsenal because it's a team that I actually have always respected quite a lot. But if you got to choose a horror story from Arsenal's book, you've got quite a few chapters to look through. What made you pick that specific game?
I think it was the people around me. After the 6th goal, they were looking at me, not in sort of like pointing fingers and laughing at me. They were more like felt sorry for me. I was like, oh.
Did they get you a beer? Did they get you a beer or anything?
No, I think I got a couple of pats on the back, and it was like, could be worse, could be 9. But 8 was bad. Right? Yeah,
because at that point when you're down 8-2, I'm guessing the biggest fear you have is that they're gonna round it up to 10, right?
Yeah, I there was a bit of a fear in me. I was just praying, but. Yeah, that was probably the worst game I've seen Arsenal play, and
it was mentally scarring, I think.
Yeah.
And